Our first night in Carlingford was our free night, so we decided to walk into town and try to find somewhere to eat, which proved to be a little bit more challenging than we expected because this is the down season for this area. It was just a short 5-minute walk from the Four Seasons at Carlingford to the historic part of the village, and they kept referring to this as a Viking village, and we looked it up. This area was invaded by the Vikings in the 9th century, and they occupied this area because it was such an important port in the area because of its location.
Yeah, they're down the street. Down the street.
When we walked around the town, we realized there weren't many places that were open, but we found one bar and restaurant that was open, and it seemed like everyone from our tour group ended up in there. Even though it was the only restaurant in town, we kind of lucked out because the food ended up being quite good. I got to try their fish and chips, and they put us in this really neat little nook with some Christmas decorations. It was just a great spot. Get it. Well, they do have a good sense of humor. I will say. We enjoyed the Christmas decorations as we made our way back from the historic part of Carlingford to our hotel. There are some very old, interesting buildings that they now have the restaurants and shops in. So we wanted to come back the next day after we were done with our excursions to explore a bit more, but we got a little glimpse. The hotel did a great job with their Christmas decorations. We made our way back into the bar and lounge area because we were told that there was some live music. The guys were kind of tired, so they went to bed, but Megan and I stayed up. When we got here last night, it was just about getting dark because it's almost December, so it gets dark pretty early, but it's actually a nice view. Got some cute little houses across the street, nice mountain. This is a little more mountainous. And then if you kind of peek down there, you can see the castle. So, oh, and the ships were right on the waterfront here, and this is a big area for fishing and boating, and if we were here in the warmer months, we would actually be able to go kayaking and that sort of thing. But it does look like a good weather day, so still kind of lucking out with that. That's nice. We had another good breakfast today. I think the Irish breakfast is really growing on me. They always have a tomato, and a lot of places they'll have mushrooms. I love mushrooms, so might have to start doing that at home. But today we're going to St. Patrick's Cathedral, and then I think we're going to, what are we doing after that? A distillery?
Yeah, I think a gin distillery maybe.
Okay. And then more live music later, so should be another fun night. After breakfast, we got onto the bus and enjoyed about an hour drive through the Irish countryside north of Carlingford. So we were going to the area known as Downpatrick, and this is where St. Patrick's grave is located. There is a cathedral right next to his grave, and just all things St. Patrick related in this whole area. The schools are named after St. Patrick, the roads, everything has the word Patrick in it. So we started at the St. Patrick's Center, where we got to watch a welcome video and learned a lot more about the life of St. Patrick and the history of Ireland in general. And then we were able to spend some time in the gift shop, and they have a little cafe here as well, before we made our way up the hill to St. Patrick's grave. Now, Patrick and I are not really big on souvenir shopping, so our guide offered to show us the newly finished Christmas exhibit. They were getting ready for a children's program, and they had just finished putting this very elaborate walkway together with these beautifully done Christmas decorations. So he walked us through, and it was so neat. I can't imagine how much time the staff must have put into all of these decorations. We got to take a picture in Santa's chair before making our way back onto the bus. It's very neat. They put a lot of work into this.
It's like a haunted house for joy. Though.
A festive
haunted joyful house. Haunted house.
It's not what I expected to see here.
Yeah.
This is the way out.
These offices all the way up to the courthouse here on the top right hand side, and we have got that's one of the oldest courthouses in Ireland, Georgian courthouse. It's listed. Some of the felons are still outside. On your right hand side we've got Down County Museum. You're going to be visiting that. They used to hang people from the gibbet outside there. Judges' residences on your right hand side. On the left is the Southwell building, built in 1733. Straight ahead is the medieval Cathedral of Down with the Celtic cross.
The bus brought us up to the top of the hill where Down Cathedral is located, and right across from that is the very old cemetery where St. Patrick's grave is located. And I thought it interesting that our guide told us a lot of Celtic holy sites were located on high ground. They thought this was a way to be closer to the spiritual realm. At the top is the large stone that covers St. Patrick's grave. We learned that this used to be covered in dirt, but many people would come and take a handful of dirt, which was thought to be something that would bring you luck if you were setting out on a long journey. They put the stone here to protect the ground. We also learned that St. Patrick was born in Britain, and when he was 16, he was captured and sold into slavery in Ireland. He eventually escaped and fled to France, but he felt called back to Ireland because he felt that he had to go back and do the work of spreading Christianity.
Graveyard. Well, not every time, but often we find the remains of our Celtic ancestors. Recently we discovered 6 people buried standing up along the line of the wall that goes around the graveyard. Wow. We only realised it because one of them, a very tall man, fell out in that direction.
Oh.
And it's not like CSI Downpatrick, there's not a big inquiry. If you've got your own graveyard, you can quietly reinter people. Just put them the right way around and put them back in again.
Our guide for this portion of the trip was great. He was both informative and entertaining. He had all sorts of interesting stories as an expert on this period of history and this area. And he was tasked with the difficult job of trying to get a group picture of us all touching the stone over St. Patrick's grave. Then we walked across to Down Cathedral. Check out the cathedral.
Yep.
Although it's not as big as some of the cathedrals that we will see when we're in Dublin, this one is quite old and it has a charm and a character, especially with these beautiful doors.
Yeah.
This location on the hill has a long history as a Celtic holy site. But about 800 years ago, monks from Normandy were invited over to establish a monastery and a cathedral on this site. So many parts of the building date back to 1183. There was a restoration done in the 1800s to update the interior space.
It's a work of art, as I'm sure you would agree, that again dates back to the 1800s and works perfectly, sounds gorgeous. It's a shame you probably won't be staying here for our Christmas concert on Christmas Eve because it does sound gorgeous, but you are very welcome. We're online, you can just get it up on the website and you can listen.
The interior of this cathedral is described as light and calm. And I definitely agree with that compared to some of the other larger cathedrals that we went to see where the interior was rather dark. There's a lot of natural light in here and it just gives it such a peaceful feeling. Oh, did you? Oh, that's neat. We're in the book.
We're in the book.
Just down the hill from the cathedral, we went into the Down County Museum, and they had a few different exhibits here, but it was definitely colder and damper than it has been, so we were just happy to be inside to look at things, and we went in to check out their jail area. Very solid.
It'd be weird if one of my ancestors was like, was here.
Probably.
Probably.
Just stay in there a couple minutes.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things that Megan spotted in the museum exhibit was this tag that you could put on your shirt if you were going out for a good night out and maybe you had a little bit too much fun but wanted to make sure you made it home at the end of the night. One of the highlights of the museum is the original cross from Downpatrick. Then it was back onto the bus to make our way back into Carlingford for our free afternoon. We were listening to some Irish music on the bus, which definitely gets you in the spirit. And when we got back to Carlingford, we had a little while to explore before our banquet dinner that night in the hotel.
Though they say the times are hard, and they've handed me my cards.
We're back from our explorations from the day, and we're throwing on some extra layers because it's pretty chilly out today, even though the sun kind of peeked out now. The clouds are coming in, and it's really cold and damp, so we actually dressed a little bit lighter today because we thought all the stuff we were doing was kind of inside, but it's actually really cold. So I'm having a pre-coffee. We're going out for coffee, and we're going to throw some extra layers on and then go take a walk downtown and explore the town because we only got to see it at night last night, so now we get a little bit of free time before dinner. You know it's cold when Patrick layers up. I'm always layered up, but
It's just like, it's not super cold, but it's just going through you.
it's so damp, yeah. We made the short 5-minute walk from our hotel into the historic part of downtown Carlingford, and since we were there during the day, there were more shops and restaurants open. We were on a mission to find a coffee shop that was open to stay inside and warm up because it was a little bit drizzly. We were so lucky it didn't rain very much, but we would have days like this where it was just kind of misty and everything was damp. We were lucky to find a cute little coffee shop in the historic part of town. We were very happy to be inside and to warm up and have real coffee. After we finished our warm beverages, we were feeling ready to go out and explore Carlingford a bit more. You can see this arrow points up the mountain to the hiking trails. I would so love to come back here and explore the mountains and do a little bit of hiking. One of the things that I love to do when we're traveling is go to a grocery store. It's a great way to see what it's like to be a local in that area. You can look at different types of foods, find things that you've never heard of. You get an idea of what things cost in that area, so it's a neat little glimpse into what life is like in a certain region. Then we started to make our way back toward the hotel because tonight we had our group dinner at the Four Seasons. There's always fun little things that you notice when you're traveling. They're just different from home, which is part of the fun of it. And there's a few little things around just the hotel rooms that I've noticed. So of course the plugs are different, so we have our adapter, but then the lights all have switches to like turn them on and off. So a couple times we've plugged something in and thought, oh, it's not working, but you actually have to flip the switch to turn that outlet on. The showers were a little confusing at first because one side you actually turn the shower on and then the other side is how you adjust the heat, which took us quite a while to figure out, but that's been in the last hotel, in this hotel. Figuring out the money has been interesting because when we were in Northern Ireland, it was pounds sterling, and then when we come down here, it switches to euros. So we were kind of like going back and forth with the money. And the money's interesting because euros are like different sizes and they use coins a lot more than we do. If you get like $1 or $2 change, they'll actually give you coins instead of bills. And the time is the other interesting thing. So when they were telling us what time dinner was, it was 5:30 instead of saying 6:30 or 6:30. They would say 5:30 or 7:30, and we would be like, what time is that? So it's just the funny little things that are different that you kind of pick up on when you're traveling. On this night we had our group meal in the ballroom at the Four Seasons, and we're a pretty big group, so it's kind of hard to accommodate the 2 buses worth of people. But we started out the meal with a goat cheese tart, and then I heard that salmon was one of the things you needed to try when you were in Ireland, so tonight was the night that I had salmon. Oh, it is mushy peas. Okay. You can eat it. Patrick had the beef, and they also serve family-style vegetables, which was really just a few different types of potatoes and some other root vegetables.
What about Megan? You want this?
And for dessert, there were cream puffs or a raspberry cheesecake mousse. Since we were in the ballroom and we had all this space, they decided they wanted to take a group picture because the group is so big it's really hard to have enough room to fit everybody in. And since I walk around with this big camera all day, they came over and asked me if I would like to take the group picture for them, because I guess it looked like I knew what I was doing, which I always find funny. So Patrick and I agreed that we could take the group picture, and they got everybody organized, and we took a couple pictures with the group, and then Patrick and I jumped in so that we could be in the group picture. But here's everybody from the 2 buses of the Cara Irish Society that were on the 2022 Irish trip.
Is everybody ready? Okay, look right in the middle there. 1, 2, 3.
It is no easy thing getting this large of a group organized, settled, and trying to get everybody to look at the camera at the same time. But it was a really fun experience, and I'm glad that we were able to take a group picture and get everybody in at one time.
A few more cameras out there in a moment, so everyone get ready. 1, 2, 3.
We ended off another great day on this trip to Ireland by going down to the lounge and listening to some live music and enjoying some drinks. So we will see you in the next one.
Well, you worried about you and me, the injustice, the next president to be, the news and what you hear, your career. It's time for you to face those fears, and it's all fair to be aware, and I'll be there, so don't be scared. Just take a deep breath of air, and 1, 2, 3 to 10, you begin to focus again, and no time flies.
Yeah. I forgot I turned it around.